not about to forget a double dog bite.
Right.
And sadly, it's your responsibility to take care of it. It's unfortunate that you didn't follow through with your homeowner's insurance. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000. That's all.
Parties are excused and they step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
He has drug addicts in his house. He's a drug addict. I was scared.
If you're afraid to go to his house...
I'm not afraid of anything.
Well, that's what you said you were. That's why you took out the crowbar.
Next Judge Judy.
I rushed over there and got to see him laying on the floor.
Oh, she was just freaking out, you know. And
Nothing until I put my finger in their face and said a few explicit words to them.
like she said, a bunch of explicit words, and that's when I finally said, let's go.
Oh, it's very frightening. Mama Bear definitely came out.
Oh, he was hurt, and that's when I went and took my dogs home and came back and checked on them.
Their insurance didn't want to do anything. They proceeded to scream stuff out at my child.
If I didn't care, I would have just stayed home and not came and checked back on him.
I think that for my son, that this is exactly what he deserved.
It was just an honest accident, you know.
As he's going to have ongoing treatment for PTSD for a 12-year-old.
Right now at 5, safety alert. A college student's attacked after meeting up with men at a bar. We are live with the warning that's going out campus-wide.
Paris massacre. New information on the investigation, including how the terrorists got the funding to pull off the crime.
Also, going high-tech. Retailers want to keep you and your money in their stores. See the tools being introduced now to do just that.
And Grammy's Golden Choices, the big names just announced that will hit the stage February 8th. Thank you for joining us. I'm Erica Sargent.
And I'm Rick Fullbaum. The CBS 4 News at 5 starts right now.
From Miami-Dade, Broward, and the Keys, this is South Florida's CBS 4 News.
Right now at 5, a CBS 4 News safety alert.
I felt a little nervous and a little scared because it is something that could happen to anyone. I live on campus, so it makes me feel concerned for my safety.
After 2 students say they were sexually assaulted, tonight, the warning being sent out, putting a campus on edge. And students at Nova Southeastern University in Davie received that warning this morning.
The victims met their alleged attackers at a nearby bar. CBS 4's Peter Dinge has the safety alert live tonight from the Davie campus. And Peter, is there a description of the 2 suspects in this case?
Well, Erica, right now there's just a general description of the 2 suspects in this case. Davie police confirm they are investigating the alleged sexual assaults of the 2 women. Now, NSU students were alerted online and through telephone calls, and some are very concerned.
I am worried as a student because it is public safety. It is my safety as a student and as a female on campus.
Nova Southeastern University junior Nicole Kokoy was alarmed when she received a warning online from her school and this phone call.
2 female NSU resident students report that they were sexually assaulted by 2 males late Monday night, early Tuesday morning, between approximately 11 p.m. and 1 a.m.
I felt a little nervous and a little scared because it is something that could happen to anyone. I live on campus, so it makes me feel concerned for my safety.
The school warning said the students had met the suspects off campus for drinks that may have been drugged with an unknown substance.
It's scary, but I don't know, I just feel like people should watch out.
According to the school warning, the victims reported they were taken to an off-campus apartment by the 2 suspects where they were both sexually assaulted. They said they were then driven by the 2 suspects to the NSU main campus where they were sexually assaulted, and there, the victims' residence hall room.
I became a little more cautious to make sure, because I do walk to school every single day. So just to be more aware of my surroundings.
But student Queen Thatch says she is not frightened.
Not frightened because, like I mentioned, it's fairly safe at school.
Davie police are looking into the allegations.
At this time, we do not believe that there is a threat to any of the other students there, but we want people to be aware of their surroundings.
What warning would you have to students in terms of what they should be aware of?
When you meet someone, don't always take them for what you see on face value. Get to know people before you leave places with them.
Now, university spokesman said the school was doing all it could to ensure the continued safety of students. He also said that counseling services were available to all students. The warning said that the suspects in this case fled in a Nissan 350Z. If you can help police, call Broward Crime Stoppers at 954-493-TIPS. We're live in Davie. Peter Dench, CBS 4 News.
Peter, thank you. And we are keeping our eye on the storm. A morning of rain caused problems for some South Florida businesses today in the form of flooding.
But the sun did come out later on. The question tonight is, are we done with the wet weather? CBS 4 meteorologist Michael Smith in for chief meteorologist Craig Setzer tonight. So, Michael, what's the word?
Yeah, I think we're done for the wet weather for a short time, at least. That flooding rain, it's done. It's out of here. That did happen early this morning. Neighborhood Network, look at these numbers. Hollywood, Watkins Elementary, close to 3 inches of rain, and that continues. Miami Gardens early this morning, close to 3 inches. Same story, Miramar, Dania Beach, just about 2 inches. It is warm outside. Skies have cleared. Here's proof. Real-time Doppler radar at 5:02. Isolated showers back off to our northwest. Radar in motion right now. Nothing to look at. Isn't that a nice change considering what happened early this morning? So the sun is back up and shining bright, dry air filtering in. Last 24 hours, look at the rainfall totals. The darker shades of green, 2 to 3 inches. So the rain has moved out. High pressure, that moves in. Weekend, it's getting closer and closer. Wet or dry? I'll have more on that in just a few minutes. Rick.
All right, Michael, thank you very much. We have some new information tonight on the Paris massacre and the men responsible for the rampage in Paris that killed 17 people, including the gunman. CBS 4's Brian Andrews is here today with the new developments. Brian.
Well, Rick, we are learning more about where these terrorists got their money and how security is being stepped up all across Europe as a half-dozen terrorists possibly connected to all this remain at large. Sources tell CBS News Saeed Kouachi, one of the brothers who attacked the Charlie Hebdo magazine last week, received $20,000 from al-Qaeda in Yemen to finance the attacks. This is nearly 15,000 extra French soldiers and police are now guarding what the government there calls sensitive sites, including synagogues. Police confirm they are searching for 6 others who may be members of Kouachi's terror cell. The man responsible for the kosher grocery store rampage that killed 4, Amadi Coulibaly, was on the U.S. terror watch list, but not the no-fly list. His girlfriend remains the focus of a global manhunt. She's believed to be in Syria. In France, mourners attended the funeral of Ahmed Merabeh, the police officer gunned down outside the magazine's headquarters. Earlier in the day, he and 2 other officers who were killed in the attacks were given France's highest commendation, the Legion of Honor. Thousands turned out in Israel for the funerals of the 4 Jewish victims of Coulibaly's supermarket rampage. The new cover of Charlie Hebdo is out, showing a caricature of the Prophet Muhammad holding a sign saying, "I am Charlie," with a caption, "All is forgiven." CBS has chosen not to show that cover, as some may find it inflammatory. However, the editors of Charlie Hebdo are standing by it, saying it made them cry and laugh at the same time. Charlie Hebdo plans to print 3 million copies in several different languages, including Arabic, and these right here are images of those copies heading out for distribution. Circulation, we understand, before the attacks was just at 60,000 copies, and now we're going out to 3 million. So you can see that this publication has had a tremendous impact. Reporting from the studio, Brian Andrews, CBS 4 News.
Brian, thank you. South Florida's airports are seeing stepped-up security in the wake of the terror attacks in Paris. CBS 4's Gary Nelson is live at Miami International Airport. And Gary, what are passengers saying out there?
Well, they're saying that the increased security comes with the increasingly dangerous world in which we live these days, and security hasn't just been stepped up at MIA and other airports all across the country, but a number of other venues as well. At Miami International, police cars on top of police cars, a uniformed presence everywhere. The Department of Homeland Security and FBI has ordered increased security not just at airports, but at federal buildings, college campuses, train stations. Anywhere people might gather might be a target. TSA screeners have been told to increase random searches of people and carry-ons.
It was a little more strenuous.
Priscilla Della Torre, flying to Tampa today, was put through the security ringer on her flight here.
But more checking of the people, make sure you take off your shoes, take everything out of your laptops, toiletries out of your bag, that kind of stuff. Longer lines at the TSA checkpoints and stuff like that.
Jose Cami, seeing his daughter off to college, worried about terror, but not added security.
What concerns me, even more than I have a daughter that travels a lot, like, I mean, they The government has to do what they got to do. More security, that's fine. It's not going to bother us at all.
A visitor from Brazil grieved for the French and was mournful that terror has gone so global.
So sadness now, because this is all over the world now.
Jamalith Rojas rushed to catch her flight to California, knowing she'd need extra time to clear security.
It's what we have to go through, but they're doing what they have to do. The government, the TSA, we gotta keep us safe.
They have to keep us safe, a visual reminder of the increasingly scary place the world has become. And don't expect our guard to be let down a bit, at least not anytime soon, given that members of that French terror cell are still at large, and who knows what other groups might be out there. We're live at MIA. Gary Nelson, CBS 4 News.
Gary, thank you. The official Twitter feed for U.S. Central Command, that's the agency that oversees military operations in the Middle East, is back online tonight. Hackers claiming to have ties to the Islamic State group took control of CENTCOM's Twitter and YouTube pages yesterday. The Pentagon called it a case of cyber vandalism. A group calling itself the Cyber Caliphate hijacked the site, claiming to work on behalf of the Islamic State militants. The FBI is investigating the hackers' claim. Meantime, the group Anonymous says that it traced the hack to someone in Maryland. And look for much more on the Paris massacre and the rest of the day's news on the CBS Evening News with Scott Pelley. That's right after the CBS 4 News at 6.
New details tonight on the hit-and-run crash that left one boy dead and critically hurt his brother. The driver accused in that wreck is now out of jail. Zachary Benjamins was released from jail this morning. He is accused of running down brothers Apollo Brown Jr., known as AJ, and Kelvron Florence last month in Dania Beach. AJ died of his injuries, and Kelvron is still in the hospital. CBS 4's Ted Scouten is working this story, and we'll have more coming up, all new at 6. And 2 juveniles arrested after a shooting in Pembroke Pines appeared in court this afternoon. A judge ruled they stay locked up while the case is investigated. Yesterday, Pembroke Pines police say the 2 juveniles shot at another juvenile at an apartment complex near a 7-Eleven. No one was ever shot. Police surrounded that 7-Eleven, though, thinking another suspect was holed up inside. No one was ever found.
We have a lot more straight ahead, and still to come, a water warning for a portion of South Florida. Information you need to know coming up next.
Caught on camera, a canopy collapses. What caused this dramatic scene? Later on.
Also, her death stunned so many people all over the country. A little girl, police say, was thrown off a landmark bridge by her own father. And tonight, the head of the Department of Children and Families here in Florida answering questions raised by her death.
Also, Bill Cosby facing the backlash of his fellow comedians over his alleged sexual assault scandal. As word surfaces, one of his accusers' stories may not be believable.
A soggy start to our Tuesday morning, but our CBS 4 weather watchers sharing the weather from their neighborhood. Thank you very much, Melissa Gessner. Hollywood, 82 degrees, sharing a picture with us as well. Let's check out the picture. What a change compared to earlier this morning. The sun's back out, drier air moves in. My forecast straight ahead.
Welcome back. Tonight, the mysterious death of a soldier in Texas is being investigated. This happened just outside Fort Hood, and Army officials have confirmed the man had recently returned from deployment to West Africa. Hazmat teams and police sealed off the neighborhood because the man was found dead lying in the front yard of a home. There is no indication the soldier had the Ebola virus, but an autopsy will be done now to try to figure out exactly how the man died.
New details tonight on the investigation into the death of a 5-year-old girl thrown from a bridge, police say, by her own father. Tonight, the Department of Children and Families is promising swift changes in how the agency responds to potential child abuse cases.
So I was sick to my stomach, and I'm angry and I'm frustrated that we can't better protect kids.
The Secretary of the Department of Children and Families says it's been his goal to reduce child deaths in the state. And losing 5-year-old Phoebe Johnchuk in such a horrific manner sent a loud message that the system needs to be fixed.
I cannot imagine the fear that little girl experienced in the last moments of her life. That should not happen to any kid.
Carol, who spoke with our affiliate in Tampa, has appointed a panel of child welfare experts and law enforcement to review over the next 30 days the safeguard failures that allowed 25-year-old John Johnchuk to be with his daughter despite showing signs of a mental breakdown. Carroll says he would have sent DCF investigators out within 4 hours of hearing about Johnchuk's issues, but he's not sure if it would have saved her life.
I don't know whether we would have even located him there, but I know this. I would rather have that protocol in place than not.
Unlike last week, when Johnchuk told a judge he wanted God to defend him in this case, this time he stayed silent in court, drooping his head, putting his face in his hands, and shifting around in his chair as a judge appointed him a public defender. Meanwhile, DCF's chief says he's not blaming sheriff's deputies who chose not to Baker Act Johnchuk when they had the chance, but instead he put the pressure on his department to prevent more child deaths in the future.
The buck will always stop with the Department of Children and Families on a child welfare case.
This is, of course, just the latest incident in what has been a years-long call for DCF to do more to protect children. Those calls came most notably after 2 South Florida cases unfolded. That of Nubia Barahona, who police say was murdered by her adopted father, and Brian Osceola, a little boy left to die in a hot car. Both cases revealed problems in DCF's system.
New at 5, an alert for those heading to the water in North Miami Beach. Miami-Dade Water and Sewer issuing a swimming advisory near the Oleta River State Park beach area. The advisory is because there was a temporary overflow of partially treated wastewater. The areas affected are Northeast 163rd Street, Sunny Isles Boulevard, Intracoastal Waterway to the east, and Biscayne Boulevard to the west. Residents are being told to avoid any recreational water activities in that area. Cameras are rolling on a bold armed robbery at a 7-Eleven in Boynton Beach. Police say last night 2 men armed with blue semi-automatic handguns ordered 2 clerks to the ground and forced a 3rd employee to give them money from the register. And on their way out of the store on Woolbright Road, they stole a customer's cell phone. If you have any information on this robbery, you're asked to call the Palm Beach County Crime Stoppers. Their number is 1-800-458-TIPS.
2 climbers are closing in on a historic feat at Yosemite National Park in California. Kevin Jorgensen and Tommy Caldwell are free climbing Yosemite's El Capitan Don Wall. They started back on December 27th, and it's been called the hardest rock climb in the world. They are scaling the wall with just their hands and feet and only using ropes to prevent deadly falls. At last check, they were about 1,000 feet from finishing the groundbreaking climb. Boy, wow. Be great if there wasn't the rain there that we had this morning or any wind to throw them off.
I don't know. I don't even like watching that video of
With
those
nice
guys.
weather.
I'm glad they have the ropes to prevent the deadly falls.
I say climb on. Good for them.
Climb on. Good for them.
Good for them. That's right. Good for us. That rain's out of here finally. It was not a nice start to our Tuesday morning flooding and spots. Let's take a live look outside right now, downtown Fort Lauderdale. Nice and clear. A new record daily rainfall total set at Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International of 1.97 inches. So what a change compared to about 12 hours ago, right? When it was coming down at a real good clip. I'm talking about the rain. 76 Fort Lauderdale, 77 right now in Key West, 78 in Miami. Real-time Doppler radar. Yes, we'll take this nice and clean across South Florida. Isolated showers across the west coast. Winds coming in from the south anywhere from 3 to about 7 miles an hour, so still very warm for this time of year across South Florida. Elsewhere across the country, the cold air hanging out where I would say most of us like it to stay, and that's to our north. 18 right now in Chicago, 27 in St. Louis, Kansas City, 28, Dallas, 38, 14 Minneapolis, and the northeast cooling down as well. It's cold. 21 right now, New York City, 33 DC, 21 in Boston. So here's the setup. High pressure well to our north. That'll slowly slide to the south, building in. And we do have a very weak cool front to the north. We'll take it. As it pushes through, drier air comes in behind the front. I want to check in with the airports. If you're traveling or expecting someone inbound, 1 hour delay at Atlanta Jackson's Hartsfield International Airport right now due to some low clouds. For us tonight, passing clouds, patchy fog, interior Broward, Miami-Dade, upper 60s for overnight lows. Winds go light. For tomorrow, a mix of sun and clouds, noticeably drier. How about 78 winds from the north at 5 to 10? Forecast through the weekend. We're getting closer and just in time for the weekend. Pleasant sunshine. We start to really cool off Friday behind this front with temperatures right on target for this time of year. Our normal low is 60, so 62 to 61 on the spot, on the money, afternoon highs, and the lower 70s Saturday and Sunday. Enjoy.
Thank you, Michael. Well, many high school students from all over South Florida will be able to go to college, all thanks to the Infinite Scholars Program. Today, more than 15 colleges and universities awarded millions of dollars in scholarships to students. The college fair gave students an instant opportunity to get accepted into college.
These universities and colleges, they come to recruit our students, and not just to recruit them, but to provide instantaneous admissions and scholarships right here at the fair.
The Infinite Scholars Program has given more than 10,000 students scholarships.
There is a new reality in Washington, D.C.
The president's meeting with congressional leaders takes on a whole new dynamic. See it for yourself next.
Also, rash of robberies. Thieves strike in a specific area of Florida City, and it's who they're targeting that has the police so concerned. We'll have that story in a live report.
On alert, Facebook has a new way of alerting its users of missing children. See how it works next.
Also, it's music's biggest night, and it will feature some really big performers this year. Lisa Petrillo breaks down who will take the stage at the Grammys. That's coming up.
I'm Natalia Yazea in the CBS 4 newsroom. Tomorrow on CBS 4 This Morning, an all-new Women to Watch. The trend tracker Tara Galani is going one-on-one with top Cuban fashion designer Isabel Toledo. That and more when you join us starting at 5 a.m. right here on CBS 4.
Well, investigators say they now have a crucial piece of evidence which may help them figure out what caused AirAsia Flight 8501 to crash. Divers retrieved the plane's second black box from the bottom of the Java Sea. The cockpit voice recorder will now be flown to Jakarta to be downloaded and analyzed. All discussions between the captain and the co-pilot during the 42-minute flight should be available. The plane crashed December 28th, killing all 162 people on board.
Congressional leaders sat down today with President Obama. One side promising legislation he's threatening to veto. It makes for a very difficult dynamic, but it is a new reality as the GOP-controlled Congress gets to work. CBS 4's Craig Boswell is at the White House with more.
During President Obama's meeting with congressional leaders, the first of this new session, the president placed cybersecurity at the top of the agenda. The idea is to focus on areas where Democrats and Republicans can agree instead of focusing on the many areas where they don't agree. Sitting between the Republican leaders of the House and Senate, President Obama said he can work with them, finding common ground on urgent issues, including cybersecurity.
We can work hard together, get some legislation done, and make sure that we are much more effective in protecting the American people from these kinds of cyber attacks.
The president is proposing a bill to protect consumer data, along with additional tools for law enforcement to go after hackers.
The recent events certainly underscore the need again to tackle cybersecurity.
But legislation already moving through the new Republican-controlled Congress is at odds with the White House agenda.
Our goal here is to fund the Department of Homeland Security. And our second goal is to stop the president's executive overreach.
The House is vowing to reverse President Obama's action on immigration and also has bills rolling back Wall Street reforms and some health care law requirements.
This legislation that we're considering is a jobs bill.
The Senate is working on approving the Keystone XL pipeline, despite a veto threat.
It certainly raises questions in my mind about how serious they are about trying to work with the president.
The White House has promised vetoes on 5 different bills so far this year. Expect to hear more about cybersecurity next Tuesday evening in the President's State of the Union. At the White House, Craig Boswell, CBS 4 News.
If you're on Facebook, you will soon receive Amber Alerts to help find missing children in your area. Facebook and the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children announced today that it will send alerts to users' mobile phones if they're in a search area where a child has been abducted. Facebook says its users are already using the website to help find missing children and that several children have been reunited with their families as a result. Right now, Amber Alerts are issued over television and radio highway signs, text messages, and over the internet. Cyber thieves aren't just after credit card information. They're also trying to steal your frequent flyer miles. American and United Airlines saying that hackers got a hold of usernames and passwords of frequent flyers and booked free trips and upgrades. The airline says the incidents happened in late December. American started to notify affected customers by email on Monday.
Well, big news tonight about the big names who will take the stage at the 57th Annual Grammy Awards in a few weeks.
And it really doesn't get any bigger than this. CBS 4 entertainment reporter Lisa Petrello breaks down the performers. Hi, Lisa.
Hi, guys. Well, from local rising superstars to a veteran of the stage, the 57th Annual Grammy Awards is gearing up with some heavy-hitting performers on music's biggest night. The Queen of Pop, a.k.a. Madonna, will be a headliner on the big show. The Material Girl didn't wait for the official announcement today. She actually tweeted out last night. The Recording Academy confirmed it today that this will be the 5th Grammys performance for Madonna, who is not up for any honors at the show next month. The gig precedes the debut of Madonna's 13th studio album called Rebel Heart, which was partially released by the singer last month after widespread leaks. Pop sensation Ariana Grande will also perform. The 21-year-old from Boca Raton is up for big awards as well. She's nominated for Best Pop Vocal Album and Best Pop Duo Group Performance. Ed Sheeran is also confirmed. The 23-year-old Brit is up for Album of the Year and Best Pop Vocal Album for his record X and Best Song. Sheeran will also be joined by country crooner Eric Church, who's up for 4 Grammys, and the veteran rockers AC/DC will also take to the stage at the Star-Studded Music Awards. You can watch the 57th Annual Grammy Awards live from Los Angeles on February 15th at 8 o'clock right here on CBS 4. And what I like about it is, you know, the Grammys, they all drink. I'm sorry, the Golden Globes they all drink, the Grammys,
Yes.
it's rock and roll, baby, so you never know what's going to happen.
It's a party.
Yeah, it's a big party.
So we'll see it on February 8th. And Madonna, I can't even imagine, all this controversy always surrounds her, even some recently.
Yes.
So what in the world could she do?
You
Boy.
know that's what she lives for, to get up on stage and shock. So Madonna's going to have some fun on Grammy night, and I will be here after the show to talk all about it. So
We'll be here
some fun.
too.
Yes. Well, good, it's a party.
And they're going old school with AC/DC as
Right?
well.
Veteran rockers all the way. It should be an interesting show. It always is.
Oh, yes.
All right. Thank you, Lisa.
Well, now at 5:30, rash of robberies. This violent scene is just one of a string of robberies to hit Florida City. Police say the rash of robberies all are within a mile of each other.
And tonight, CBS 4 is learning that tourists heading to the Keys may be the intended target of these thieves. CBS 4's Marianne Martinez live in Florida City with the details. Marianne.
Well, Rick, one of those robberies happened in this vacant lot of this Best Western Hotel. Now, just on the other side of US 1 behind me, two other robberies, one at a restaurant and one at another hotel. Two gunmen storm a Denny's in Florida City. The robbers force a waitress to open a register. The January 5th video does not show the thieves taking the wallets of two customers and one Denny's employee. The Denny's robbery is one of 4 since the first of the year.
It could be me, could be anybody.
News of the robberies worried this Florida City resident who frequents that Denny's. This map shows a January 11th robbery at the Travelodge just behind the Denny's. The Ramada Inn was also held at gunpoint. On January 5th, there was an armed robbery in the vacant lot by the Best Western. Police say tourists were sitting in their car just like these people are when they were approached by a gunman. He demanded money as well as a driver's license and a social security card. It didn't sit well with tourist Alan Metzen as he was driving down to the Keys.
So I should head back to Minnesota then, get out of here, I guess.
This is our biggest tourist time, so therefore there's a lot of tourists and things in this area.
Police say this is a new problem to the businesses on either side of US 1. While investigators are not ready to say the incidents are connected, they are looking into the possibility. They're also beefing up their presence so tourists and locals can feel safe.
We have high visibility, we have some surveillance taking place, we have undercovers taking place.
Well, to see the patrol car, it makes me feel better. It'd be nice if they catch them, though.
Now, even though police have surveillance video in 2 of those robberies, they are telling us that one of the challenges they're having is that the robbers are wearing masks and even gloves in 2 of the robberies, so they're having a heck of a time trying to identify them. In Florida City, Marianne Martinez, CBS 4 News.
Thank you, Marianne. A hospital worker who was charged with inappropriately touching patients at a hospital, at Palm Springs Hospital, in Hialeah, struck a plea deal today. Renee Martinez entering a no contest plea to 1 count of battery and will serve 1 year probation. The state dropped the remaining battery and sex charges. Last year, a man sued the hospital accusing Martinez of touching him as he lay on a hospital gurney. Martinez no longer works at that hospital.
Tonight, a prominent South Florida businessman is talking about an experience of a lifetime. He went on a 500-mile journey in Europe as part of a pilgrimage to raise money for a South Florida charity.
CBS 4's Elliot Rodriguez sat down with Mike Fernandez to talk about his book, his roots, and his vision for a giant American flag in downtown Miami. Hi, Elliot.
Rick and Erica, hi. Mike Fernandez likes to work behind the scenes, wheeling and dealing in the healthcare business, but he's stepping into the limelight with this book about a life-changing journey that he hopes will inspire others to take on challenges, even when they seem insurmountable.
I am very proud of my roots. I am very proud that I've been able to stay humbled and grounded.
Mike Fernandez likes to show off his house, not his multi-million-dollar waterfront mansion in Coral Gables. He'd rather talk about the house in this painting, his small childhood home in Cuba.
I remember taking a fishing line from here, and there was a guy selling bananas on a cart, and had a friend of mine hook the bananas, and I reeled it up to the upstairs, of which my dad proceeded to smack me in the head for doing that.
Fernandez has become a billionaire dealing in healthcare companies, but he still found time to write a book, Humbled by the Journey.
I've been walking for about 3 hours.
It details his 500-mile walk in Europe to raise money for Miami Children's Hospital and the Miami-Dade Early Childhood Initiative Foundation. Fernandez trekked from the small French village of Saint-Jean-Pied-de-Port to the Spanish town of Santiago de Compostela, a grueling pilgrimage dating back to the Middle Ages that took 32 days to complete.
Physically, it was very demanding for me. I was walking an average of 58,000 steps per day. I was doing 18 miles per day.
The book is also about Fernandez's journey from Cuba to the U.S. An Army veteran who considers himself a hardliner on Cuba, he favors President Barack Obama's opening to the island.
50-plus years, we have followed a policy towards Cuba that has not generated the results. And in business, you have to be pragmatic. In life, you have to be pragmatic. So I think the position that the U.S. has taken is long overdue.
Besides promoting his book, Fernandez is working on putting a giant American flag in downtown Miami. He's trying to convince city commissioners to back his idea to put up the biggest flag in the country.
I'm not asking the city to give me 1 cent towards the flag. I'm not even asking them to give me the land. I'm going to take $5 or $10 million and put it in an incredibly beautiful, inspiring flag of ours, and I'm going to keep it up for them. They keep it. It's their land, it's their park, it's their flag, it's my nickel.
Well, so far, Mike Fernandez has little traction getting his flag idea approved by the city commission in Miami. But just like on his 500-mile journey in Europe, he is not about to give up. He is taking this journey one step at a time as well. In the newsroom, Elliot Rodriguez, CBS 4 News.
All right, Elliot, thanks very much. The children of civil rights leader Martin Luther King Jr. in court today. They're trying to settle a family feud. Their dispute is over ownership of King's Bible and his 1964 Nobel Prize. His sons Martin III and Dexter claim the items need to be sold to ensure the future of the King estate. His daughter Bernice opposes the sale. Both items remain locked in a safe deposit box until a judge makes a decision, which could come at any time. The items could be worth $10 million. The former governor of Virginia will not be allowed to remain free while he appeals his conviction on corruption charges. A federal judge denying that request today, and that means that Bob McDonnell could turn himself in to begin his 2-year prison sentence on February 9th. McDonnell and his wife were found guilty of taking gifts and loans from a vitamin executive in exchange for promoting that executive's products.
Donald Trump is filing a $100 million lawsuit against Palm Beach County over air traffic that flies over his property. During an interview last night, Trump says floors and walls at his Mar-a-Lago club are being damaged because of vibrations and emissions from planes. The iconic home was built back in the 1920s. He wants officials to have the planes avoid the airspace above the property.
We really have to do it now. We have to protect Mar-a-Lago for the state of Florida and for the country. Areas are broken and areas are falling down, and I had to do something because I really do.
The county attorney's office says it has not seen the lawsuit and has no comment. And bad news for Florida's citrus industry. Last year's low production may be topped this year. The U.S. Department of Agriculture only projects a harvest of 103 million boxes. That's down 5 million from its October estimate and less than 2014's record low production. Florida agricultural officials blame the projected decrease on a bacterial disease causing trees to produce less fruit and produce fruit that is green.
The Ohio State Buckeyes are the national champions. The team returning to Columbus to some very happy fans just a short time ago. The Buckeyes' dominating performance over the Oregon Ducks has college football fans cheering the new playoff system. This was the first year for that. Neither team would have even been in the game had we still been using the old format. CBS 4 sports anchor Jim Barry has more now on the Buckeyes' big win. Hey, Jim.
Lots of high fives there, Rick. The game certainly was a hit, and the Buckeyes are unlikely champs. Who would believe that a team could lose not one but two quarterbacks and still win a title? Ohio State did it, though, with a convincing 42-20 win. This historic matchup soon turned into a mismatch. Ohio State bullied Oregon with some bruising old-school football. The Buckeyes star runner scored 4 touchdowns, and their new starting quarterback showed off his cannon of an arm.
Jones steps up, fires downfield. Devin Smith is open and makes the catch at the 5.
Cardale Jones went from being on the end of the bench to the spotlight. He was so good in his team's last 3 games that some wonder if he might leap to the NFL.
It's like 6 weeks ago, he didn't like me. It's crazy.
We love you now.
Right, you don't have to like me to coach me. That's good.
I've never met a third-string quarterback before, and he's 3-0. So I'm very humbled that you brought that up, but I'm also the first one to appreciate the people who did it, and that's our players.
This feeling is unreal right now, you know, because, I mean, 3 or 4 months ago, everybody counted us out. They said we wouldn't be here at this point in our careers and this season. And the way that we responded to all that, it was just unbelievable.
Jones and his teammates cradled the new national championship trophy, the first one awarded in this new playoff format. The Buckeyes' win in Dallas set off a wild and sometimes rowdy celebration back in Columbus, Ohio. Police used tear gas to keep folks there in check, but no arrests or injuries were reported.
It hurts. It's just, you put so much work, you put so much effort into the year, and it's tough. I mean, it's tough to go out with a loss.
The game ended a brilliant run by Heisman Trophy winner Marcus Mariota. All season long, his Ducks had won with reckless abandon. But Ohio State's convincing win last night had Buckeye coach Urban Meyer quoting Bill Parcells.
It's like a blood transfer. We're officially brothers for the rest of our lives because we're champions.
Well, this is Urban Meyer's third title. His first two, of course, came at Florida. Meantime, the game drew monster TV ratings, a sign that it could grow into a collegiate Super Bowl. I'm Jim Berry, CBS 4 Sports.
Jim, thank you. Now, this was perhaps the only thing that did go wrong for Ohio State last night. One of the flags run out just before the players was missing. Oh, hi is all people saw. It turns out the cheerleader carrying the O got stuck on something, and that led to a couple of cheerleaders getting run over. Everyone, though, is okay in the end and probably feeling really good about that Ohio State win last night.
Yeah, I don't think they care about that last O. Okay, so if you are planning on participating in this year's Tough Mudder Challenge, get ready for some big changes. This year, Tough Mudder is adding 10 new challenges, such as swimming off a 12-foot platform over freezing water, the Crybaby, which is a chamber filled with tear gas where you have to crawl through, and the Ring of Fire that we see right here. This is a 20-foot drop through the flames.
Oh my goodness.
And this obstacle, it is scary. You go 35 feet up, you go through this ring of propane, it's pretty hot, and you drop into this pool of water beneath you. But it creates this awesome experience.
Yeah. In 2013, our very own Lauren Pastrana was tough enough to do the challenge. Tough Mudder is a 10 to 12-mile obstacle course considered to be the largest mass participation event in the world. And Lauren looked pretty good there. What do you think? Do you have what it takes?
The mud part I'm okay with. It's the Ring of Fire. I don't know. I'd like to keep all the hair on my head.
I think the one called the Crybaby.
That would take
That
me
would
down.
be me. Well, I'm a crybaby, so I wouldn't even go out there in the first place.
Well, good for Lauren in 2013. That was amazing.
That was great.
All right, well, still to come, transportation trouble.
The emergencies that cause problems for commuters in 2 major cities. We'll tell you about that coming up.
Canopy collapse, the big problem that caused this, coming up. And
also, stop for smuggling. But if you think these bricks strapped to a man's body are drugs, think again.
No laughing matter. Even Bill Cosby's fellow comedians are now turning on the embattled star. The Insider's Louis Aguirre has the scoop.
Michael Smith in for Chief Meteorologist Craig Setzer on this Tuesday. Time to check in with one of our CBS 4 weather watchers, a loyal weather watcher. Thank you, Loida Hernandez, for sharing. The weather in your neighborhood, 77 right now in Hialeah. She also shares this picture. The sun is out, the wet weather has moved out. My forecast straight ahead.
I'm Elliot Rodriguez in the CBS 4 newsroom. All new at 6. New information on the surviving brother of a deadly hit-and-run accident in Dania Beach as the driver who police says responsible walks out of jail. Plus, those in the French Jewish community here in South Florida react to the news in France. Those stories and more coming up on CBS 4 News at 6. Join us.
Caught on camera, a water main break ripping apart the canopy of a gas station in Oklahoma. Surveillance video shows the slow progression of water after a city line broke, sending water pouring into the parking lot. The force even blew a hole in the rear window of a car which was parked just a few feet away.
I didn't see the water line is break. Then when the water is too high, like 30-40 feet, then I saw it like a tsunami like that. Yeah, it's like a tornado.
Well, city crews did clean up the watery mess. Now that store owner is trying to figure out if the city will pay for those damages.
Scary moments underground in Washington, D.C. Monday afternoon. Heavy smoke filling a subway tunnel and station, and there was so much of it that a passenger on board a train died and dozens more were hurt. A passenger's cell phone video showing the frightening scene on board the train just before the afternoon rush. As firefighters began evacuations, people were covered in soot, gasping for breath. Overnight, National Transportation Safety Board investigators inspected the track area. They say an electrical problem along the track's third rail could be to blame. The NTSB says its investigation into the incident could take up to a year. Meantime, in New York, an early morning fire at New York's Penn Station has been ruled an accident. Take a look at this Instagram video, which shows the flames coming up from the subway grates. Wow. That fire started just before 2:30 this morning, and more than 100 firefighters responded to it. Investigators now say the fire started in a temporary wiring area used for lighting during construction work. 2 firefighters suffered minor injuries and were taken to the hospital to get checked out. There were some commuter delays this morning as a result of the fire.
Tonight, another twist in the Bill Cosby controversy. A veteran Hollywood talent agent claims his former client, Beverly Johnson, and acquaintance, Janice Dickinson, fabricated their stories of being drugged by the famous comedian. This comes as Cosby's fellow comedians begin to speak out against him, and these comedic voices are getting louder and bolder. The Insider's Louis Aguirre joins us from Hollywood with more. Louis.
Rick and Erica, if Bill Cosby's alleged bad behavior was once a dirty secret kept among celebrity friends, all bets seem to be off now, as a generation of comics he once inspired seem convinced that over 30 accusers can't all be lying.
He shouldn't be rewarded and applauded for raping that many women. We're way beyond the point of, like, did this happen?
Judd Apatow, producer and writer of hit movies Bridesmaids and The 40-Year-Old Virgin, and executive producer of HBO's Girls, is going full court press on Bill Cosby, speaking out against the embattled comedy legend.
Bill Cosby's decision to continue his comedy tour has enraged a whole lot of people.
The allegations against Cosby of rape, drugging, or sexually assaulting over 30 women have all been denied by Cosby, but Apatow is convinced otherwise.
We will still be searching for Spanish fly.
While on Mark Maron's podcast, Apatow brings up this 1991 Cosby appearance on Larry King.
He's talking about Spanish flies. He is absolutely giddy, laughing about the concept of doing that to women.
And you put it in a drink. Coca-Cola, don't matter. It doesn't make it, and the girl would drink it, and she's yours. Hello, America.
Comedians like Bill Maher and Tina and Amy's Golden Globe opening act obviously have not been afraid to go there.
The people did not want the pills in them. No, Tina, hey.
Apatow hopes it breaks the ice for more to come out against Cosby.
I'm not comfortable with him running around the country doing stand-up like nothing's happening.
While at the Golden Globes, Judd joked about his often strong views on topics like Cosby ending up on social media.
It's hard not to speak out about it. I just feel like my career's over at this point. And anything can be said. You know, it's all cake at this point.
Look, even if Cosby is never charged or convicted of a crime, it already looks like he's damaged one of the most important things in his life, his reputation, and a lot of people would say rightfully so. Rick and Erica, back to you.
And look for more of the day's entertainment headlines on The Insider at 7:30 after Entertainment Tonight at 7 right here on CBS 4.
And CBS 4 meteorologist Michael Smith in for Craig Setzer. And you know, once the rain cleared out this morning, it was beautiful. Yes. Really nice.
Picture perfect outside right now. Quite a different story this morning. Set a new record for daily rainfall at Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International. How do you like that?
How much?
1.97 inches. Let's talk about that and the old record, in case you were wondering, because I know you were, Rick and Erica. 1.83 set back in 1997. So that's the new record. That heavy rain is out of here. Live look outside across Miami. Miami Beach, we've got clouds around, but the rain it's out of here for now. 78 in Miami, 76 in Fort Lauderdale, 77 in Key West. Real-time Doppler radar. Proof is in the pudding, as they say. 549. All is quiet. Miami-Dade, Broward, isolated shower over towards Naples, but that's really about it. East-southeasterly wind, a very warm wind, anywhere from 3 to about 7 miles an hour, so still pretty warm across South Florida for this time of year. Normal high 76. We were back into the upper 70s again today. We're going to have a little bit of a cool down as a front makes its way into South Florida, but nothing very, very cold. It's going to stay cold right here. Upper Midwest, 14 in Minneapolis, 18 right now in Chicago, 10 in Toronto, Canada, 21 New York City, 33 in our nation's capital, 44 Atlanta, 31 in Memphis. So some of that cold air sliding down to the Gulf Coast. Weak front to our north, just enough to push the rain out and get us some dry air in here as we kick off our Wednesday. Boaters tomorrow. Winds becoming north, 10 to 15 knots, seas 2 to 4 feet, a moderate chop on bays and inland waters. Water temperature 78 degrees. Sunrise at 7:10 tomorrow morning, sunset 5:50. My forecast for you tonight, passing clouds. Watch out for that patchy fog. It's going to be pretty dense interior Broward, Miami-Dade overnight. Winds go light, the humidity stays up for tomorrow. A mix of sun and clouds, drier. 78 will take it thanks to that northerly wind at 5 to 10 miles an hour. Forecast through the weekend. We're getting closer and closer to the weekend. Pleasant sunshine Saturday. Look at those overnight temperatures. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, back into the low and mid 60s. That's pretty much normal for this time of year. Afternoon highs comfortable in the lower 70s.
Looks good. We'll take it. Thank you, Michael. Going shopping is going high tech.
And it could save you time and money. See how next.
Also, smugglers stopped. It's not drugs strapped to this guy's body. What this man was allegedly trying to sneak into China, that's coming up.
And all new at 6, what a juvenile defendant does when the officer processing him suddenly collapses on the ground.
But first, let's take a look at the closing numbers today on Wall Street.
In tonight's Tech Minute, from mirrors that dress you to shelves that practically restock themselves, many stores could soon be giving customers a better shopping experience with some cutting-edge innovations.
Sounds like fun. CBS 4's Marley Hall reports from the National Retail Federation Expo in New York.
Trying on clothes just got a little easier and a lot more high-tech.
So you can try on multiple things virtually when in reality you've only just tried on one thing.
Exactly. It's a memory mirror by Intel called the Memo Me.
It enables you to try on multiple colors and styles of a garment without having to go back into the dressing room.
With just a touch of a screen, you can also see 360 views of each color, as well as side-by-side comparisons.
The consumer can send all that information to their smartphone and then share it in social media, either be Facebook, Instagram, and get likes or votes from your friends.
Retail chain Neiman Marcus is testing the Memo Me at select locations. It's one of hundreds of new shopping innovations unveiled at this year's National Retail Federation Expo in New York City. Also on display, a digital inventory tracker called the Power Shelf.
If a shopper picks the last one up, we can actually recognize that it's out, send that information back to the retailer to fix the shelf.
The Power Shelf tracks items using a sensor mat that measures weight. And if you download the store's app, a Bluetooth-enabled beacon sends a coupon to your phone when you get close.
It's really simple.
And that means more sales for retailers and more options for shoppers.
Marley Hall, CBS 4 News.
All right, cool stuff. Finally at 5:30, a smuggler busted with an unusual cargo.
Well, it's not drugs, weapons, or anything like that, but the man did set off alarms when he tried to pass through a metal detector with 94 iPhones strapped to his body. Customs officials in China say they were already suspicious because he was traveling light, but acted like he was carrying a heavy load. The man was held for questioning.
I don't understand how he was thinking he was going to sit on a flight with all those iPhones strapped to his body.
It's already uncomfortable with just you in the tiny little seat and all that extra
baggage.
Baggage.
Exactly.
Right, baggage.
Now, I don't think he thought this through very well, Elliot.
Could
What do
you
think?
imagine if one of those phones started ringing during that flight?
Which one do you answer?
Excuse me, I have something back here. Not a very smart guy.
No.
What's coming up?
Here's a look at what's coming up, Rick and Erica, at 6 o'clock. Next at 6, the man accused of a deadly hit and run involving two Dania Beach brothers walks out of jail. Reaction from the family of the victims, plus new information about the surviving brothers' condition. The future of Uber in Broward County could look very different in just 60 days' time, what the county commission voted on today. And a Hollywood firefighter who suffered a serious spinal injury gets some star power support. Vanilla Ice stopping by to help build him a new pool. CBS 4 News at 6 starts right now.
This is South Florida's CBS 4 News.
Now at 6, the man charged with killing an 8-year-old boy and putting his older brother in the hospital after a hit-and-run accident is out of jail tonight. Zachary Benjamins was released this morning, weeks after that accident. Tonight, the boy's family is upset he's out. CBS 4's Ted Scouten joins us live from Dania Beach with our top story at 6. Ted?
Elliot, this family's pain is still pretty raw. Right back there is the area where those boys were hit right now. There is a memorial in its place. Tonight, that family is stunned that the judge lowered the suspect's bond and that he was able to raise the money to post it.
Zachary, any remorse over what happened?
Zachary Benjamins is out of jail after his bond was reduced. The bowling alley bartender is accused of hitting brothers Calveron Florence and A.J. Brown with his car as the boys walked home on Bryan Road in Dania Beach in December. Deputies say he took off, leaving the two on the side of the road. 8-year-old A.J. died. His godmother was stunned to learn that Benjamins was allowed to bond out.
Just tears. Because he has his family. We can't hug AJ no more. We can't, no, it's over for him. But he has his family. We don't have him no more.
You're accused of leaving those two kids there. One of them died. He's wearing an ankle bracelet to monitor him while he's out.
We look at this as not being fair because this guy, he didn't show no remorse in court. He could have at least said sorry. He didn't show no type of remorse whatsoever.
We're seeing new pictures of 14-year-old Calveron, the survivor. His family shared them with us. Last week, he had a tracheotomy to help him breathe.
Right now, he's on a lot of medical stuff, so they have him like medically induced, and they're bringing him up slowly because he's still in a lot of pain. He has a lot of broken bones, but overall, he's coming around.
Nothing to say to the family?
While Benjamins is staying quiet, family and friends of the two boys are not. They plan to show up near Benjamin's house.
The plan is to march in the neighborhood to promote awareness to the neighborhood that this guy did this to us. And watch your kids, because he may do it. He may do it again to one of yours.
And the family tells us that the older brother still does not know that his younger brother passed away. They plan on telling him when he's further along in his recovery. Live in Dania Beach, Ted Scouten, CBS.